All right, so it's time for another eBay unboxing. Not too many things left because my allowance is almost spent. Yes, I get an allowance. I'm 49. And yeah, my husband's kind enough to give me an allowance. All right, so this was a nail biter. I saw it was just listed on eBay for $39.99, and it could be shiz or it could be really good. And sometimes a seller who's not very like a newbie or somebody who just is lazy will generally just put like a one sentence description with awful pictures, and you have a split moment decision whether or not to hit it, buy it now if something was just listed. And you have to sit there and say, well, it could be a bag of shit or it could be good. And I don't usually take that risk, but I take that risk sometimes, and sometimes I get burned. And then I end up spending like 20, 30, 40, $50 on something that I'm really disappointed with. But I never, ever, ever give the seller trouble for that because it's my own fault. Because taking a risk, that's what happens, right? You take the risk, and sometimes you pay the piper. And you pay the piper twice because you pay with money and then the thing sucks. All right. So let's hope it is what I think it may be. And we'll do a little research if it is what I suspect it to be. By the way, it's like 20 degrees out, and this is fragile, and it's glass, and I hope it doesn't crack from going into the cold into the warm. That's actually happened to me with an antique doll once that was made out of bisque. Bisque is known as porcelain. I brought it in from the cold, opened it up immediately, and I heard, like, did you ever like take ice out of the ice tray, and then when it hits the warm air, it starts to make that crackling sound? Well, that's what I heard, and right before my eyes, a $500 antique doll, her whole entire face cracked. And so let's just hope this doesn't happen. All right. Oh God, this is big. This is actually quite big, bigger than I expected. All right, let's see if it is what I think it is. And oh my God, this is like, what is this, Klingon wrap? There we go, Klingon. All right, you ready? Oh my God, it is. Okay, it is what I think it is. Okay, I took the top off of it. I'm looking for marks, and lo and behold, I did find a mark. Let me see if I can find it again. Let's see, let's zoom in if we can. And we're going to go around. Now, do you see this? You see the word Lewis, right? Loues, Louis, and the word saint in front of it. Okay, so this is St. Louis, antique St. Louis glass, and it's acid etched. Let's take a close-up look at that. This is all etched by acid. Acid etched St. Louis perfume bottle. Now, these are worth a pretty penny. Now, I assume that this one was made between about 1900 to about 1916 or so. And I'll show you my research and how I've come to that conclusion. Now, a lot of sellers call this Baccarat glass. By the way, it's French. Baccarat was also another glass maker. But believe it or not, wow, look at the quality of this. This is crystal, and it's 18 karat gold. You can see it right there, 18 karat gold gilding. And oh my God, this is an absolute score for $39. Now you might say, well, where's the top? Okay, so how this one works. This one is pretty cool. There's a French word for this type of perfume bottle. And so let's get a close up at this. Okay, so the top of this is shaped like this. And you might say, well, how is that? So what you do is you twist it. Okay, there we go. We twisted the top. Don't know if you could see that. And this would have actually, a lady would have placed a cotton ball right here and went like this, and then placed it onto her pressure points. And this is, I forgot the name of it. We'll get the name of it in a second. We're going to do our research. How did I come to this conclusion? And the best part of all is I have another piece of this exact item in my collection. And I have original invoices to show you of when these were made. A company by the name of Sarah Felix actually used St. Louis glass to make perfume bottles. And she was known to make the 4-chamber atomizer. She invented that. And let's go ahead and go over the history with you and show you my other piece that is actually part of this set. Okay, so here's the other one I had. This is a 4-chamber atomizer pump perfume bottle. And you can see here the words BTSGDG. And that actually means some kind of way. Actually, it's BTESGDG. And when you see something like that, and we have under here, made in France. Don't know if you could see that under the chains. There we go. When you see something like that, that's meaning like something to do with like the design is patented or awaiting patent. We know we have definitely French glass right here. We have the same exact design. Really quite beautiful. Now we know that this one is St. Louis also. Now I thought it was Baccarat. And I'm going to show you some other sellers selling these as Baccarat. One bottle, one atomizer bottle with this same or similar design is actually being sold for $1,600 and change. And $39.99. I just hit the jackpot. Now let's go over Sarah Felix and St. Louis glass. We're going to see the Sarah Felix original design that was actually created to make this particular bottle, that she used various French crystal manufacturers to make part of her bottle. So she would design this, and the French manufacturers would actually make the glass to fit her items. Now this again is a 4-chamber, so meaning that you can unscrew whichever one you want and squirt out whichever perfume you want in this bottle. And you can see the 4 chambers here in the bottle. You can see 4 compartments. Now, believe it or not, it still has remnants of perfume in there. I have not cleaned it out. Wow, acid etched perfume. I mean, acid etched crystal is very, very valuable, especially the older pieces. And we got this 18 karat gold. Now, I forgot to mention another company that actually used these beautiful, beautiful French glass from many different manufacturers, such as Baccarat, St. Louis, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, Emile Gale or Gal, Nancy Daum, and all the other major, like really, really highly collectible glass makers in France. It was Marcel Franck, and Marcel Franck actually made the metal parts for the atomizers as well, and used French glass makers to actually complete the bottles. But Sarah Felix was known to have made this one, and I assume that Sarah Felix was also the maker behind this one as well. Okay, so on one of my favorite blog spots, Cleopatra's Boudoir blogspot.com, she's like really excited to show on eBay, ! 1920 St. Louis pump atomizer with original leather case. And you can see it's not identical to mine, but we have the acid etched glass. It says made in France. And this is a piston pump atomizer like my 4-chamber one. And we have this beautiful wreath with acid etching in the glass and a basket filled with flowers. So now we know that this is really a cool thing, because we know that we have St. Louis glass, and these are very rare. So here's an original ad for one of these 4-chamber ones. And we know that they were made as early as 1912. In the Dry Goods Economist, issue 3, 1912, it says, a quadruple perfume atomizer. Paris is just now greatly interested in quadruple perfume spray that was originated and being marketed by Sarah Felix, a producer in general toilet lines. This new spray or atomizer, was purchased in Paris by the Dry Economist, and is shown in 2 positions on this page. Is the pumps type, I'm losing it. Pump type, and consists of a large bottle having enclosed 4 separate or mated bottles in about an ounce for holding that number of different odors. The 4 bottles have individual spray pipes leading to outlets or small cap nozzles of the larger bottle. So here we go, Sarah Felix 1912. Now another company bought her out not long after. And here's the original ad. Really quite cool. And we have our St. Louis crystal bottle. Let's go ahead and look at the rest of the information. Here is a patent for another maker that actually bought her out. And the name was Bloch, B-L-O-C-H, Frères Bloch, which was Brothers Bloch. And here is the patent. He repatented her bottle in 1915, right here. And we have that piston pump atomizer 4-chamber. Actually, in this particular one, it's a 3-chamber. As you can see right there, there's the 3-chamber compartment. Very cool. Now, after Bloch bought out Sarah Felix to actually market these perfume bottles, here's a beautiful, beautiful ad dated 19, it looks like 11. So now we know that the bottle was made as early as 1911. Actually, this is Sarah Felix's ad. Okay, before Bloch bought her out. And it says, Vapor Histoire des Fesses. And it says, Système breveté, and that means patented in France, SGDG, and Antoine pays. And you see the 4-chamber compartment coming out. Look at that, with different fragrances, and you see different flowers. Maison Sarah Felix, and there's the original address, 43 Rue Richer, Paris. And really cool. Now, again, Robert Bloch bought out her design, and it continued to be sold into the 20s. So here is actually a receipt for the sale of his atomizer bottle dated 1920. And you see the exact same bottle right there. And you see another invoice dated 1923 with the same bottle. And it's very interesting to see this. I can't read French, don't know what that says. Okay, so here's another example of St. Louis crystal. This one dated 1908. And you can see this gorgeous, actually, let's try to blow up the photo. This particular one has a stopper. You see that gorgeous, gorgeous 18 karat gold gilding with the acid etched. Unfortunately, this one does not have a price. It's a status not available, so it's sold. But here's one such one. This one was known as the Nelly pattern. And the Nelly pattern came out in 1908. So now we're figuring out the date of our particular item. Wow, look at that. And we're actually finding out more information about this. Now, I thought this was Baccarat glass because Baccarat also did designs like this. Now, here's the original catalog from 1908 showing some of their wares. And that is actually really, really cool. Here we go. And mine isn't the Nelly pattern, but very close to the Nelly pattern. Now, here's a Nelly pattern bottle. And you can see again with that 18 karat gold with original faceted stopper. And this one being sold for $325. Now, here's Neil auction site selling the St. Louis crystal acid etched with the gold gilding. And if you look close, I'm trying to see, is this our pattern? Well, it's very similar. I see laurel wreaths, and it's sold for $1,024. It actually broke a record because it went above the $700 to $1,000 estimate for 2 pieces. Now, this is the bottom of one of the pieces that sold. And they did actually have labels made out of paper that would have been attached to the bottom, but they actually fall off or disintegrate. So that's what it would have looked like when it was on the bottom of my bottles. Now, Baccarat was also known to have made these beautiful acid-etched bottles in different colors. This one's cranberry and clear. And these are 2 crystal perfume bottle decanters. Unfortunately, there is no price for it, so I guess we won't know what the value is. When it says ask for price, that means the damn thing is so expensive that you're going to have to inquire about the price. Now, I did tell you that a lot of sellers sell this as Baccarat, but it's actually St. Louis, and it says French antique set of 3 Baccarat crystal perfume bottles sold. Unfortunately, we don't get a value, and we don't see what it sold for, but a lot of people think this is Baccarat. And as you can see, it's clearly St. Louis. Now here's another example of acid etching glass from around that same time. We have this biscuit jar, and it's being called baccarat. Ask for price, because it's, again, so damn expensive that you have to ask for the price. Now this one's being called a baccarat, actually glass, just a regular drinking glass. 250 euros just for a drinking glass, but I suspect that it's St. Louis and they're thinking it's baccarat. Okay, so now that we know, now here's one that's similar to mine with that same type of sprinkler top, which you never see. You rarely, rarely ever see these ones with sprinkler tops. That's what makes mine so much rarer. This one being called baccarat, and the pattern is called eglantier, and we have that acid etching with red ruby going throughout it. And there's that top piece. Well, what is that top piece called? Now, this, by the way, was in their 1903 and 1904 catalog, and also in their 1916 catalog. So we're getting an idea about the age of these pieces. Now, what these are called is dropper bottles, or I'm going to get it wrong in French, but flacon stilgat, or stilligat, or stilgout, or stilligout, or a dropper bottle. And it was used for dispensing drops of perfume on a cotton ball or handkerchief. Very interesting. Okay, so this one is a baccarat version of the acid etched glass in a perfume atomizer with a pump, original pump. And this one is the eglantier pattern, again with the cranberry acid etched design. And it's being sold for $595. Now, baccarat and St. Louis carry around the same price range. Now I'm going to show you one more. Now, Marcel Frank, I was telling you about, he made perfume bottles also. And by the way, we'll check this one out because this one is just absolutely stunning. But Marcel Frank made perfume bottles using French glass. And here's an example of a Marcel Frank perfume bottle using baccarat glass. And this one is just plain. It's etched with a boat and a laurel wreath going through it. And this one is $287. Now, just for shits and giggles, in 1890, this is a baccarat original catalog showing different perfume bottles. And there is a piston pump one. And there's ours, our sprinkler type bottle. It's not our exact one because it was made by St. Louis, not baccarat. But you see that these were made as early as the 1890s. Now, on Ruby Lane, somebody actually has this for $1,650, and they erroneously called it baccarat. And it's an atomizer. Let's blow it up and take a look at it, if we can. And you see this acid etching and this beautiful laurel wreath. And this is definitely St. Louis. And she has it as baccarat, but this is a St. Louis piece. And made by Marcel Frank using the St. Louis glass. And you might say, oh, but it's a different color. It looks gray. No, here it is in better pictures. And you see we have that acid etching design. And there we go. So you might say, well, it's being sold for $1,650. That's not the value. But I can tell you one thing, these things sell, and they sell really, really well, especially rare acid etched glass. What is acid etched glass? Let's find out. Okay, so acid etched glass, as the name implies, is done with hydrofluoric acid that erodes the surface of a glass panel to create a translucent finish. The translucent glass allows light to pass through, but has a blurry finish that obscures shapes and figures on the other side. Now here we go. We find more information. St. Louis pump perfume atomizers, circa 1915. And we see my design over here, except for I have the 4 chambers. Yes, the 4 chambers. The more chambers, the more value. And they came in different colors, as you can see here. Green and clear. And it says the left bottle is acid etched with clear and green cameo design. This is also called cameo glass. And it says the right 2 are also etched but have gold gilded cameo design and flower baskets inside the wreaths and floral swags. And many different makers were making these type of perfume bottles, but using different glass from different glass companies. This is 1903, and you can see that from the early 20th century, this is a 1915, 1920s cameo glass perfume bottle. That's French. And Marcel Franck actually designed it, and a French maker actually sold them the glass. So what did we learn today? We learned that every dog gets their day. And yeah, and now the beauty of this is now there's two pieces that are actually, this one being very rare and this one also being very rare. Since we have 4 chambers, you rarely ever see the 4-chamber ones. You only see a 1-chamber like that. And now we have a set of 2 that belong in the same actual set. I don't know how many of these they made, but I've only seen this. I've never seen one of these little sprinkler bottles. The lady in the, actually the seller sold it for so cheap because she said the top was missing. And I realized right away that this is a sprinkler bottle. And I got so excited because for $39.99, this was a hell of a steal. Now, what is it worth just for this bottle? I wouldn't sell this one for less than $500 to $800. Now, as a set, now we got $1,600 at the minimum. Definitely at the minimum. High-end retail. High-end. If you want to flip it on Fleabay or eBay, $800. And I would never even do that because why? Why give this away to somebody for pennies on the dollar when you can actually sell it in an upper quality antique online store with higher end clientele, like people that, oh, my stomach just growled, with people that actually have money, not like ratchet people like me buying this shit for $39.99. Yes, I admit I'm, one of the bottom feeders. So I wouldn't sell this to another bottom feeder. The hell with them. So once again, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something, that diligence pays off. Sometimes, you got to do hard work. You got to do your homework, get it? You got to actually look actively and seek these things out because they won't seek you out. Does every dog get their day? The answer is yes. Sometimes you get lucky enough to find something really rare for pennies on the dollar. Doesn't happen every day, trust me. Not that lucky. But then you could end up adding something highly valuable to your collection. Now, if you're a flipper or a reseller, you would probably see about, I'm going to go with about $150 for this. It's pushing it for $200 on eBay because people like me, the eBay buyers are a lot like me looking for a bargain. They have less money in their pocketbooks and they're looking to buy something on the cheap. Now, but if you're a reseller who has a high-end store on Ruby Lane or First Dibs, $800, $600 to $800 all day long. With the other piece and being sold as a set, $1,600 on eBay. Way less. Don't bother selling high-end things on eBay. You end up, unless you want to flip it really fast and you pay like $5 for it at a thrift store, it's not worth it. But it's worth it for people like me because I find these things there from people that don't do their homework and don't bother spending 5 minutes on Google like I did. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something.